Hello, my name is Tristan, and today I'll be showing you in Adobe Photoshop CS5 how you can make a nice space background with space text similar to this. So what we want to do is we want to first open up a new document at 1600 by 800 pixels, and we want to have our foreground color set to black with our background color set to 3A. And from there we go to filter, render, clouds, and it's got a nice cloud effect for us there. We'll make up a new layer, and with a default color, with our default color of black, we'll fill it in. We'll fill it in with black. That was there with Alt Delete, which looks similar to our paint bucket tool. But and we want to go to filter, noise, add noise, and you want to have those options the same as mine down there. And from there we'll go to image, adjustments, levels, or Command L, and you want to drag your slider up until you're happy with the amount of stars you see there. Now what we'll do is we'll set our blending mode to screen, and we'll implement a layer mask. Then using the brush tool, and with the brush tool set to black with an opacity of 50%, and I'm using the airspray tool there. I'm just going to rub away some of our excess stars. And once you're happy with that, yeah, it looks all good. You can even tidy up some of the edges so it's more pronounced in the center. But that's what we're looking for right now. Alright, now we're going to put in a text box that's, put in some text that's white. I'll just put some plain wording there. And I'll drag that to the center. You can see my text options that I'm using right there. Yeah, now we're going to go into that layers blending options, and just move that there. But what you want to go to first is your color overlay, and with your default options you just want to go into the colors, and I have a nice deep blue that I'll be using for this tutorial. And you can see that there. Now I'm going to want to go to the inner shadow, and you want to set that to multiply. You want to take the color and you want to set that to 187 FBA. Hit enter there. You want to change the angle of the light source to 90 degrees. Have that global light box checked. I'll have the distance set to 15 pixels and the size set to 8. Once you've done that, you can move on to the outer glow. Make sure the blend mode is screening, 75%, 0%, and once again we'll change this color to 187 FBA. Voice was just croaking there for a sec. Now we'll take the spread and we'll set it to 5%. Take the size and set it to 100%. You see, you get a nice big glow there behind some very dark text. Moving on, we'll set the inner glow. We'll set the color again to 187 FBA. With Technique Softer, Source Edge, make sure the choke is 0, and we'll set the size to 13 pixels is what I'm using right now. And we'll move on to our bevel and emboss to make a nice texture on our text. And we'll set the technique to chisel hard, depth at 100%, direction up. I'm going to move the size up only slightly. 3 pixels is what I'm using right now. Make sure the angle's at 90 degrees again, altitude at 30. I'm going to set the gloss contour to rounded steps. The highlight mode here, you can change it to multiply. And we'll set the color there to a nice mid-grey and the opacity right down to 0. set the shadow mode to linear dodge add, and we'll set this color here once again to 187 FBA. And at 75% opacity, we move on to our texture. All you got to do here is set the depth to -80, but otherwise your default the default setting should work. And right here we're going to hit OK, and you'll see a nice, lovely space text here. And we'll hide those settings there. And holding Alt and dragging this layer, I'm going to duplicate it. And I'll turn off that first layer we had, and I'll rename this one to, let's say, Space Fluoro. What I'm going to do first now here is I'm going to disable the layer effects, and I'm going to change the color of it into a nice fluorescent blue, which I've got here 5C DBFF. Now, using the Move tool and the down arrow key, I'm going to get you to just nudge it down by 3 pixels, just hitting it 3 times there, and turning our main layer back on. You'll see that we have a nice fluorescent outline there. Now, again, holding Alt and dragging our fluorescent layer, I'll just turn these off so we can see what we're doing again. I'm going to move it 3 pixels up again so it's in line with our space text. And I'm just going to rename this Space Smoke. Now what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to turn the opacity down to about 20%, as you see there. And we're going to add a filter. I'm going to go to blur. I'm going to add a Gaussian blur. We'll have to rasterize the type right there. That's fine. I'm just going to use 4.0 pixels there. We've got a nice Gaussian blur right there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to filter again. We're going to go to liquefy this time. What you're going to do here is, using the forward warp tool and a brush size of about 50, I'm just going to make some nice smoky wisps on our text. Doesn't matter if you don't get them just right, just add a few for each letter and you should be good. Alright, once you're done there, hit OK. And again, we're going to Alt drag that layer for a copy there, and we're going to go to filter, where are we? Filter, distort, wave. And you can use your default settings here, but set your scale to well below 50%, otherwise it'll just come out looking way too distorted. And from there you just hit randomize until in the display you see a preview that you like, and you just hit OK, and you see there we get a really nice warped smoky effect there. Now going back to our original smoke layer, Alt drag that layer again, and we're just going to go to filter, distort, wave again, and just hit randomize for a completely different effect. And you'll see there we got 3 layers all on top of each other that are just nice and transparent, and they got a nice wispy smoke effect going there. Now I'll turn on those layers below it, and you see we have a very nice glow effect happening there, and I reckon that looks pretty good. Thanks for going through this tutorial, and I'll include a link to the font I used in this tutorial. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again soon.